under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have two upcoming meeting dates, one on June 4th and one on June 18th. And we have a few sets of minutes up for approval tonight. The first one is March 5th. So do I have a motion to approve the March 5th minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and I think all of us were here for that meeting. So those are approved. The next set of minutes is March 19th. And Bob, I think you were not here or not sitting for that meeting. So do I have a motion to approve the March 19th minutes?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Bob, you'll abstain from that
Yes.
vote?
Yes, that's when I had the aye.
Yep.
Really
And
lovely.
for the next one, April 2nd, Russ, I think you were not here for that meeting, so if I can have a motion to approve the April 2nd minutes?
So moved.
I'll recuse myself.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and Russ is recused from those. Okay.
Wow.
Thank you very much. The first item on our agenda for tonight is an extension of final approval for the Shapiro lot line realignment on Purse Lane.
I'm happy to report to the board, as of last Thursday, we finally have an agreement between the town and the adjoining property owner. And I actually redid the easement to reflect the changes. It's going out tomorrow.
Okay.
So hopefully within the next 2 weeks, that'll be signed and this matter can be put to rest.
So do we need to extend this then? Because I think this
Well-
is valid through June 24th or something, Pam?
To err on the side of caution might be best.
Yes.
Why would we want to do that?
Okay.
Caution?
I like to be optimistic, but I understand. All right, I know the applicant isn't here tonight, but we do have a letter in our packages from the applicant. Normally, I don't do this unless the applicant appears, but I think with this one, we know that the town has been working with someone to extend this,
It's a
so.
little unusual.
I understood. Do I have a motion to extend this, Tom, 90 days sufficient?
That's
Okay, do I have a motion to
So moved.
extend this one for 90 days?
So
Do I have a
moved.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank
Motion
you.
carries.
The next item on our agenda is an extension of preliminary approval for Saxon Woods 12-lot subdivision on Old Fishkill Hook Road. There you
Good
go.
evening.
Hello.
We are just finishing up with the health department.
Okay.
So we're actually moving along. We just got our, I think, final round of comments today, matter of fact, from the health department. So I feel pretty good that, you know, we're going to be wrapped up with them in the next month or two.
Okay. And you're looking for an extension for how long for this one?
At least the 180 days,
Okay.
because we still have to address some of the conditions and comments that were part of
Okay.
the preliminary approval.
Okay. Were they extensive comments or anything that you think will significantly change the plan?
No.
Okay.
no.
All right, any questions or comments from board members? Okay, do I have a motion to extend Saxon Woods for 6 months?
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And then, if you want to just,
Yeah.
next item on our agenda is a discussion for Taconic Mobile Home Park on Hosner Mountain Road. And I know we gave you an extension, but we did ask you to come back and give us an update
Right.
periodically, so let us know how you're doing.
I'm optimistic that we're near the very end with this. We had to get some testing that I mentioned to the board at the last point, last time we were before you.
Okay,
We did complete all that testing, and last week, actually, that all went back to the health department. And I did meet with the health department to go over some outstanding issues, so I feel that we're in a good position right now to get this wrapped up, actually within weeks.
okay.
So
Great.
I'm expecting to have that done before the next expiration.
Okay. Is there anything that, anything else that's pending for this, or anything else you need to do aside from finishing out the
There
health
were a
department?
few conditions as part of the approval.
Okay.
We did incorporate those changes into the latest plan as we worked through the health department. So we're pretty much at a point now where I'll be able to submit that back to the town engineer
Okay,
for their review.
Okay, if we can have that at least a couple weeks prior to your
Right.
expiration, that way we've got time to review it.
I just wanted to get wrapped up with the health department because we had so
No,
many
that's fine.
changes that were going along.
That's fine.
that,
And you gave us copies of the correspondence there,
Yes.
so we appreciate that.
Yep, that's great.
Okay. Any questions from board members?
With the, I haven't been, maybe I missed the meeting, you've discussed it, but the storage tanks, the size of the water storage tanks, have been resolved? Or?
I should know this, I've been looking at this plan for a long time, but I believe they are two 6,500-gallon storage tanks within the building. But I believe they're 6,500 apiece, so 13,000 total.
Okay, so it was a fire department, right?
Right, well, as part of the approval and working through the board, we were asked to put a hydrant out front to fill the trucks, and we've done that. And I believe we set aside, I don't know the exact number, but it was around 8,000 or 9,000 gallons.
Okay.
And we did set that up with a hydrant out front to fill the trucks. And that's one of the reasons why we had to increase the size of the tanks up to the 6,500 tanks.
Okay, great. Any other questions or comments from board members? We appreciate the update.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yep. Okay, the next item on our agenda is a discussion for Lehigh Landscaping amended site plan on Sprout Creek Court.
Do you want to,
Oh, Lord.
Good save.
do you want me to put it on?
No.
Yeah, let's see if we can.
You want me to put it in the?
Well, it's a discussion. Unless you need to point at it, we can just bring it up here. We can
Okay, let's do that.
we can look at it. Thanks, Mark.
Basically, this is the Mid-Hudson flooring site. Alan Lee hired me from Lehigh Landscaping. What we're proposing to do, basically everything from the rear of the building forward will remain as it is today. What Alan does, I'm sure you've probably seen his site on Maloney Road in Town LaGrange. Alan does residential, commercial landscaping projects. He would like to be able to sell and store bulk mulch, stone, things like that, landscaping products. There will be retail here, whereas people can come in and purchase, let's say, some of the bulk material. The way the site's laid out right now is many of his workers would drive to work. They would take the company vehicles, which would be parked back here overnight, and then they would leave the site. We estimate between 10 and 15 people would be in the building, and he has design people, he has salespeople, maintenance site people. So we're going to have the same amount of employees as that the Mid-Hudson flooring people have or had at this point. So we're proposing, we're going to be doing some display work, like retaining walls for like unilock displays, so that people can like take a look at what they may choose to purchase. And they can't purchase it from directly from Alan, but he would install for them. So this gives them an idea of things that they would like to purchase.
So you're showing this, is this storage?
Yes, those are storage bins.
Okay, just describe what this, is it?
Those are
I'm sorry,
basically, for lack of a better term, mafia block. They're just concrete block, and they separate the bins, and they weigh about 4,800 pounds apiece. And you're able to get in there with a skid steer and pick up material to load onto a truck.
Okay.
And what's the subbase in there?
This will actually be concrete under here, so you're not digging up the subbase. But the balance, what we like to do is gravel, just leave it item 4, crushed stone.
And the parking here, is this for
This is for like.
the retail, or is this for
This is
the
for-
landscape vehicles?
This is
or-
their equipment. This would be like their pickup trucks, and these are for their trucks and trailers.
And is that part gonna be, will those spaces be paved then, where you're gonna be parking?
Actually, if we can, I mean, we're trying to reduce the amount of impervious, obviously, but If we can keep it gravel, we'd appreciate it.
Any fuel storage or anything like that?
I don't, do you have any fuel storage on? Oh, you'll have, that's right, we talked about, it would be a, it'd be a contained,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a Highland tank system where you have the canopy on it, and it's totally enclosed. It comes with its own containment.
Does that sit on a concrete pad or just?
Correct. Yep.
And where is that gonna be located?
That'll be back in here, in this area.
Landscaping for the rail trail? Any
Um,
plan? Because I'm on there almost every day, and you can see the back of this building.
We could, I mean, we could landscape the back of the building for the rail trail. I mean, that's what he does.
Be a good showcase.
There you go. Can you put up a sign?
That was one of my questions. Are you going to be, are you proposing a sign on, anywhere on the site?
Just on 376, basically in the same location, the existing sign.
Okay. Can you just show that on the plan,
Yep,
just so
I
we
will.
know that, where it is?
Yeah,
And then-
there's just a little monument, but
Yeah.
there's no inset for it yet.
And Mark, the other question I have is, I know it's pre-existing non-conforming for the rear yard setback.
Yeah.
The storage bins technically are structures, so they would be in the setback. So is there a way to move the storage bins forward about 8 feet? Because also then it would take it a little further away from the rail trail? And
It
also
would-
get you out of the setback?
It would push my parking forward.
And my next question was, do you need all this parking? Or do you just want it on this side because it's more convenient?
It is, and it's not seen from 3786.
Okay, and then, so do you still need all this additional parking on this
He
side too?
feels he does.
Okay, because there's gonna be retail?
Well, there's some retail, but what happens is a lot of employees drive to work,
Okay,
and then they take company vehicles.
okay, so, okay, and then you're just saying it'll move it forward, but it will only move it forward about 8 feet,
I
right?
don't have a problem with that. I don't see there's any reason. We'll pull the storage bins 8 feet away from the side yard,
Is it, I think it's a rear yard,
or up. Oh, yeah, it'd
Right.
be rear yard in this case.
because it would technically be increasing in
Saying
nonconformity.
Sprout is the frontage.
Sprout would
Yeah,
be the
it's across the
frontage, okay.
frontage. And that way you don't have to worry about
Side yard, or rear
rear
yard.
yard.
And then, I'm not sure what the facade on this would be, but again, if you're in view of the rail trail, where if we can do.
We'd probably
As
landscape
Russ said,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, we can landscape that. That's probably gonna
John.
be 4 foot high.
Is there any lighting proposed?
We don't show any lighting proposed, because most of it, I mean, we could, I'd like to leave what's in front as it is.
Okay, so you're not gonna, put any additional lighting
No,
in?
we're not,
Okay.
we're not asking to put any additional lighting.
And then, as far as the, is there gonna be any gates or any,
We're not proposing any.
so people could get in, just any security as far as getting into where the material storage is?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't considered any kind of security fencing. Never really seen people steal anymore.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you were gonna add
Because if
something.
you steal it, then you gotta
I
put it down.
I have no opinions on it.
For the, but over the winter months, you're gonna have the vehicles parked in the back as well?
Well, he does snow plowing, so they'll be on the
Okay, so
road.
they're not actually gonna be in storage?
No, we're not storing
Nothing
it.
that's.
Everything's pretty much in a daily use. I mean, everything pretty much goes out. Because what he doesn't do in the summer, he does do in the winter, because he does maintenance, parking lot maintenance and such, so.
And servicing the equipment there, will that happen? or-
Have we planned that, sir? You don't service here, do you? You don't, do you service here or on Maloney Road, a vehicle?
Vehicles. Yeah, they get the daily road, and we have a mechanic on staff, but we also send quite a bit of it out.
Yeah, like, just changing oil and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there is an overhead door in the back, so.
So that's gonna be done in the building then, as
Yeah,
opposed
no,
to out on
wouldn't
the
be done-
gravel?
Wouldn't be done out there.
Okay. I think the only other question I have with the grass and everything, if there's other landscaping that you're going to do,
Yeah,
we
we
should
can-
show it on the plan.
We can talk about
I'm
landscaping.
guessing you'll probably do something, so
Sure.
let's
Yep.
just understand what that is.
Okay.
But nice screening for the rail trail would be great if we
Okay.
can.
he's expanding the whole business with this?
Yeah, he's actually,
Hoping to hire some people?
yeah, he's actually been on Maloney Road. He calls me once every month and asks me if I know of a piece, and this one he actually found, and it actually does work out. He's centrally located. It's a good spot. He handles most of Dutchess County, so.
Michelle, as far as the parking requirement would go for this use, are we over the parking requirement where we need to?
There really isn't much of a parking requirement for this type of use.
That's what I'm- yeah.
So it's really more about what, what is appropriate for this type of use. And I mean, I know, I don't know how much of this is gonna be retail and how much retail activity they're gonna have, but, this is all existing parking on this side of the building.
Brendan, anything with traffic or site flow we should?
Well, just one thing, Mark. I mean, I don't know if you've considered any other layouts. It just seems a little constrained in terms of the access of that back parking lot. And these bins, what if they're only 10 feet in depth?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't seem to hold a lot. We're talking about mulch and gravel and whatnot. Even that sort of spilling out into the aisle a little bit. And then just even, if I understand you right, if you're gonna be selling it, you're gonna be asking the public to drive in that back parking lot.
Correct.
To get loaded up and to be able to turn around and get back out again. And then even the stuff has to get delivered.
Right.
I'm assuming at least a 10-wheeler, right? If
Small,
not- if not-
small, yeah, 10-wheeler max.
It just, I know there's, you have the septic system up in the front, but I just wondered if there's some way to make some kind of circulation in there.
I mean, we can move it forward. We would have to do it to eliminate the rear yard variance, and then we can make that wider. The entrance we can make wider. We don't see a lot of people coming in and out of there. It's like almost going to Page Lumber or someplace where you order lumber. You've got to go to a yard to pick it up. So it's pretty much regulated. There's a person out front, pretty much saying, let me see your ticket, but they're gonna be loading it for you, you wouldn't be loading it yourself. So it's not gonna be unsupervised back there, you know what I mean? So, we're just trying to minimize the amount of impervious we create, but I understand your concern.
What's actually gonna be in the building?
It's actually displays, offices, he has a design group in there, also other products that, he normally show people.
Are you gonna be storing equipment in there?
No. You mean, as far as what equipment?
Like the vehicles or anything
No,
like that?
no.
It's not a garage space at all?
In the storage part or in the showroom part?
Well, that's what I was wondering, there's a storage part of the building?
Yes, it is. There's a warehouse, and then there's,
Okay.
if you remember, well, you probably know the name, but they sell flooring there, they have display, and then they have the warehouse in the back,
Okay.
so.
Do you know what the square footage breakout is approximately?
I don't know that we have that, but we can get that.
The whole
Okay.
building's 7,600 square feet.
Yeah, but I don't know what the breakup is.
It's about half, isn't it?
Yeah, it's close to half. I was gonna say, it's about half.
Part of this remains floor. Is that back lot could be gated?
No, we're not proposing any gating back there.
This will be the vehicle storage for baby trucks in the winter, will be plowing, so there will be parked there, but this will be materials.
Mark, the right of the building, that's actually a tractor-trailer loading dock, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's not, is it flush with the ground, or actually it's a loading dock?
I think it's, I don't remember if that's flush or not.
No.
No, it's a loading dock, right?
It's up in here, it's elevated.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's, even, what's funny, when I looked at the site on Google Maps or whatever, on an aerial, there was actually a tractor-trailer parked there.
Yeah,
So
they
back
record.
in.
Yep,
Right,
they back in and offload in
And
the back.
offload right there.
I didn't realize that was elevated.
So just so, the board has understanding of that. I mean, this is a overhead door, and this is a loading dock. And so a tractor trailer just backs into there.
Can't believe it.
Unload.
It's flat back there.
Oh, no, there's no loading dock there, there's only one dumpster.
Yeah, it's just a door.
The
There's
back
no-
of it just has a dumpster and a fenced-in area, there's no loading dock.
Yeah,
So it's just an overhead garage.
Yeah, it's
one
just,
garage
there's no
door.
elevated, it's all
Okay.
flat back there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about, it looked like there was an apron there, and I didn't know if that was,
No, no,
Just how
no,
much
I see what
to-
you're saying. No, that's not elevated. That's all flat, one overhead door.
Okay.
And then where is your trash receptacle?
It's actually, it is going here, but it's not.
Right next to the
on.
building?
Yeah, that way we can come in here and offload it and then drive away.
This is what
Actually, we did check here. The best they could probably do is come in, back up, and turn around. Yeah, there's yeah, they could.
Even if they put materials, like for sale, actually better.
Aren't there some handicap spots here?
Yeah, we missed that.
Okay. So,
We have,
Michelle, when we do the parking, we just need to make sure the handicap spots are
yeah, that was,
called out.
that was in the
They're
comment.
not shaded right now.
Okay.
We probably can't, I guess maybe along here, you're still gonna have people crossing.
Yeah.
Traffic.
Yeah, because this is like the main door here, so
Well,
we'll
this whole
we'll probably
circulation
make these
has changed
and put a
now.
walk in
This
there.
whole thing for-
And this is all existing right now?
Correct.
So there's no handicap spot there now? Or it's just
You know,
not
this
drawn
came
for-
from the surveyor, so he may have just said,
People
"Oh,
could just
spots,
come in."
spots, spots." We didn't
Okay.
actually, I doubt you could see if it was. It may have been at one time, it just, one of these may have been an island, and it could be two spots. I honestly didn't notice when we were out there.
Can't go over
Let's
there.
just make sure you have it.
Yep, we will, we got more than enough parking.
Okay.
I guess it depends on what kind of system it is. It's just a trench system.
Any other changes to the site that you're anticipating that aren't in this initial drawing, or anything else that?
Well,
we
anything,
should talk about?
well, I mean, we'll widen this, you know, understanding what Brendan has said. We will, you know, we'll definitely widen that, and we'll come back with a landscaping plan, so.
Joe,
Lori,
anything else?
well, the only real significant comment we hadn't talked about as much was just qualifying the amount of additional impervious and what that's going to mean for the drainage and increase in runoff. And it doesn't seem like it's anywhere near an acre disturbance, so there wouldn't be a SWIP, but there would be some kind of a pre and post evaluation and some erosion controls, maybe some kind of water quality device.
Okay.
you know. And I guess with this being an amended site plan, there probably should be, I think there's a reference to the original filed map, but it probably should maybe include some other kind of tie back to the original site plan and
Okay.
some of the original conditions. We had similar questions about the access and circulation in the rear part of the lot.
Michelle, any other comments, or anything else we should go over now?
I think that covers them.
Okay. Scott or Brendan, any last comments?
Mark, I would just like to add, I mean, if there was some way to actually, you know, I don't think it has to be paved, but it can still be gravel, if there was any way to sort of, you know, make a loop in there.
Make a loop to come back out.
To come back out, you know, even if they have their own trucks that have trailers, you know, it would almost be easier if they could just pull in and then be on
Come
some.
back out, maybe on the other side of the septic.
Yeah, if possible, or if you can't traverse the septic, then it's gonna have to be to the, you know, the south side of the septic, but, it just looks like there might be a way, then you wouldn't get people sort of in there, another customer coming in.
Yeah, it'll create flow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would help the whole operation.
Okay.
Is that the public hearing or is it premature?
Not yet, I think we should.
Need to see it?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna say it one more time.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Sorry much for Hazel.
That didn't sound very apologetic, Mark, I'm just saying.
We're just saying.
All right. Thanks, Mark. The next item on our agenda is Homesteads at Hopewell, 68-unit affordable housing complex on Joe Smothers Road.
Good evening. My name's Larry Walensky. Most of you may remember me from the time we were here before. I'm the attorney for the project, Homesteads at Hopewell. As you know, the prior application had been withdrawn, and between that time and now, there have been some modifications made to the project, which will be presented to you this evening, and we have a new project developer in place. The project developer that's now in place is Rupco. Representatives from Rupco are here tonight. I'm going to let them present to you who they are and what their experience is and why they've gotten involved in this particular project. The review process for this one is a little bit different than what we collectively went through the last time. As if you guys recall, the zoning had not been adopted for the workforce housing at that time. Now it has been, so we made an application, a new application under that statute, and this is the kickoff meeting for that. Hopefully tonight we're in a position to be able to determine that the application is complete enough that it can be referred over to the town board for the town board to essentially review it and make an advisory determination as to whether the location of the project is suitable for this workforce housing that's being proposed. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Kevin O'Connor, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Rupco, who will explain Rupco's involvement and what Rupco's about. Thank you.
Well, good evening. Kevin O'Connor, CEO of Rupco. I've been the CEO of Rupco for about 10 and a half years, and prior to that I spent nearly 15 years with Hudson River Housing, a nonprofit in Poughkeepsie. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Hyde Park, went to Roosevelt High School, one of 6 kids, graduated from Marist College. My wife and I and our 2 boys, we live in New Paltz, and have a sister that lives here in Hopewell. Oddly enough, I was telling the guys out front as we were waiting that my oldest brother married a woman from Hopewell, and so when I was a youngster, he was quite a bit older than I used to spend a lot of my summer weekends here in Hopewell. And so, Rupco is celebrating its 32nd year as a nonprofit based in Kingston. For much of its tenure, we were working and based mostly in Ulster County. Today, we're working regionally throughout the Hudson Valley. Our mission is to create homes, provide opportunity, and improve communities. Today, we operate offices in Kingston and Catskill. Some of the other programs we're involved with, we're marketing for NYSERDA currently their Green Jobs, Green New York program in 10 counties, including Westchester, Dutchess, and throughout the Hudson Valley. We have a staff of 38. We operate 5 business lines, working broadly in housing and community development. Do a lot of home ownership work, a lot of owner-occupied rehab. We've seen our housing rehab go from emergency repairs to energy efficiency to accessibility modifications, and now most recently we're going to be involved with doing work in terms of resiliency in places that have been flooded, and we're going to be making repairs to homes to try and help them to do better in the future when additional floods might come. We manage property. We manage 374 units of housing, some of it senior, some of it family. We've been managing family housing since the 80s. We have a number of small sites where we manage family housing, and we just completed our last project and had a ribbon cutting in Woodstock, where we just opened up 53 units of affordable housing, rental housing in Woodstock. With me tonight is Chuck Snyder, Director of Real Estate and Construction for Rupco, and also Guy Kemp is here, Vice President for community development. Teresa Walsh, our Director of Property Management, was unable to attend with us tonight. We are really pleased to be here with this potential opportunity to bring some affordable rental housing here to East Fishkill. We know the need is significant. A few years ago, with funding from the Dyson Foundation, the 3 counties of Orange, Dutchess, and Ulster worked on a housing needs study by municipality. And we have numbers that were produced for every municipality, including the town of East Fishkill. And the report, I think, significantly was done by an economist, economic policy and resources out of Vermont. Jeffrey Carr was the principal. Jeffrey is originally from Stone Ridge in Ulster County. And the numbers that they showed that the affordability gap for rental housing in 2006 for East Fishkill was 154 units. And of that gap in 2006 of 154 in rental housing, they suggested that East Fishkill needed to build 66 units. There's other ways perhaps to meet the affordable housing gap of 154, and they projected build numbers. And the build number for 2006 was 66 units, rental housing, all of which for folks earning at 50% of the median or below. They also projected numbers for 2012, 2015, and 2020 in that same report that was produced in 2010. And so the number rises, and the affordability gap for rental housing for East Fishkill for the year 2015 rises to 203 units, and the to-build number becomes 85. And so here we are in 2013, just a few short years away from those, and those are the numbers for the town of East Fishkill. You are familiar with the project that was proposed last year. We are stepping in. We have made some changes to the project that you're going to hear a little bit more about from Dawn. We're keeping the same number of units, essentially, 68 units of rental housing. However, we are converting a number of the 3 bedrooms back to 1 bedrooms. And we think that this housing is for people of any age. We think that the 1 bedrooms will certainly be something that seniors will be interested in as well. And so we've made those changes. We've eliminated one of the buildings. So we think that in terms of impacts, the new proposal will have slightly less impact than what was before you 1 year ago. We are keeping the same team members in terms of the development. So we have Larry Walensky here acting as our attorney. Dawn is here from Lankin Tully. The architect is A.J. Coppola, an architect that we've had experience working with in the past as well. And so the team members remain the same. What's new is that RUPCO is now the developer of this project, that RUPCO will own and manage this project going forward. And again, as a not-for-profit agency that has been around for 32 years, that is led by a dedicated group in terms of our board of directors. This is an agency that was recognized by Pattern for Progress in 2007 with their Quality of Life Award, and we're really pleased to be here. We think that we can deliver the kind of housing that's needed in East Fishkill, one that we think that you'll be proud of, and one that we are dedicated to making sure that is well managed, well maintained for decades into the future. And with that, I'd like to ask Dawn Kolinsky to come up and talk a little bit more about the changes to the project.
Is it all right if we just ask you a couple questions before you do that?
Absolutely.
Can you give us a feel for how many properties you're currently managing, number of units, that sort of thing?
Yes, we manage 374 units. There's a sheet in your packet. There's a packet of information. The yellow sheet lists all the properties, the date of completion, the percentage of income, whether we own or just manage, whether they're family or seniors, and that's in your package.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Does anybody else have any other questions before we move over to talk a little more about the project with Dawn?
In your management of these properties, is this on-staff people that work directly for you, or do you subcontract out?
We do not subcontract out our management. These are our employees, led by the Director of Property Management, Teresa Walsh. For this particular property, we will have an employee living on-site, an on-site superintendent that will principally be involved in the maintenance aspect. We're going to do our own snow plowing, lawn maintenance, that type of thing. We'll have an on-site superintendent. Again, really focus more on the maintenance side than per se the property management side. But all of our employees are in-house. We will, of course, hire local subcontractors for additional work, as needed, and have some vendors that will provide services as well. But in terms of the property management staff, they are RUPCO employees.
Okay, let me just propose a situation that could happen. You get a ruptured water line or something. You have a plumber that's going to come in and secure this line and take care of it.
Yeah, so no, for that kind of work, we'll hire local plumbers.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a maintenance staff and an on-site superintendent will do some things, but no, when we get into the trades, we're going to hire local, and we'll assemble a list of qualified contractors. In another line of business, for example, we're doing quite a bit of housing rehab, predominantly in Ulster County, for predominantly low-income owner-occupied homes. We have generally, we're doing about anywhere from $750,000 to $1.2 million a year in rehab, and we'll have, and these are mostly $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 jobs, new boilers, new roofs, changing out bathrooms to make accessibility modifications, and we've got 70 or so local contractors working that program. We'll set up supply with local vendors, local hardware store, that type of thing, lumber yards, so that we'll buy local, and we'll have local tradespeople that we think are qualified to handle the work in terms of when we get involved a little bit more technical.
That's very nice to hear. Thank you.
The last time this was here, the financial arrangements were somewhat complicated. I assume you're being a nonprofit, you're not using the same kind of financial arrangements to build a place?
No, we absolutely are. This is going to be funded by the federal program, the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit.
Okay.
It's administered by the state of New York. That will require, income limits of the folks who live in the units. It's a competitive program that we must compete with, it's a program where the state of New York is making awards, and they're looking at projects that meet their criteria, that enjoy local support and approvals, and we will be applying for, as you might say, those complicated funding sources.
Yeah, well,
yes.
there was also the tax credits.
Yes.
You're doing those too?
Yes, we are.
Sorry, just trying to understand the finances and the rest of it as compared
This
to last
remains, much, in terms of it's approximately an $18 million project to build it out, and we will be using the same funding sources proposed as the last time.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions from board members?
I'm
Thank
not
you
going
very much.
anywhere, so if anything comes up.
Great.
Oh, the other I was asking.
Sure.
You're talking 60% of median, 80% of median for the rentals?
Yes,
Or is there a mix?
we're looking at a mix of, and we haven't settled exactly. We're still working on the numbers a little bit in terms of that. Potentially, we could have units renting to folks earning 30% or below, particularly seniors. We find often with fixed incomes, Social Security only, that there's a need there at the 30% income level. But we'll have units for certainly at 50% and 60%, and may well have units up at the 80% range as well. So we do expect a mix of income in these 68 units.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dawn?
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be back here. As Kevin was saying, it's basically a lot of the proposal that you had seen and we had looked at quite extensively last year. Only we believe somewhat even better now. Originally, we had 5 buildings. We did reduce the buildings to a total of 4 buildings. This is our development plan that is contained in the plan set. Down in front of me, and my apologies, I've actually should have made this to put on the board as well, is just a blow-up of the project development itself, showing the layout of the 4 buildings. We're keeping the same entrance location, same site distances. We did straighten it out We still have the turning circle, traffic circle in the center. We have a parking on, both in the front and on the sides of the buildings. The buildings will have outdoor recreation. We'll also have indoor facilities as labeled on the plans. We actually increased the amount of handicap parking. That was a concern that was raised. Although we met the zoning code, we have the required 136 parking spaces, plus the 2 for the superintendent's house. We are, once again, keeping the historic property there for the superintendent's residence. And we offer 8 handicap parking spaces now, 2 per building. Water and sewer, basically the same. Once again, connecting to, as an outside user, to the Hamlet of Hopewell Sewer District. And RUPCO will be contracting with Dutchess County Water Authority for the water connection. The plan set that we provided and the EAF, the narrative and included with the Part 3, we've basically need to finalize our water and sewer designs. And we do have to finalize our SWIP and get that submitted. But once again, we had met the requirements not only of the state, but of the town as the MS4 for stormwater. So we're confident that with less impact, less impervious, we can certainly meet that again. So our next submission will most certainly include the finalized drainage. Other than that, not so much has changed on the plan, but I'd be happy to discuss any aspect that,
You're still talking about 68 units,
yes,
but 4 buildings now.
in
instead
4
of 5.
buildings. As Kevin had said, we eliminated the one building was up in this area, was a townhouse, was a 10-unit, 3-bedroom townhouse style. That building is gone, and now they're all 2-story flats.
Now, if you added that building back in, how many more units could you get if you put it up? If you went back to 5 buildings, but not townhouses, 3-bedroom?
Well,
Because we're short of buildings now, aren't we? In Fishkill, East Fishkill?
well, our zoning only permits, because it's density, a net density, so
Okay.
we have 7.4 acres net on this 9.2 acre parcels.
I'm just trying to figure out how you got this.
Right, so we
the
would
number of
only be,
units.
on this parcel, in accordance with the zoning, we would only be able to support 74 units. So wouldn't warrant another building. We could actually add and get up to the 74 and still comply with the zoning.
Thank you.
And can you just, and if it's in the package, I apologize, I haven't looked through it yet. The breakout of the units now, I know you've reduced the number of 3 bedrooms and you have
Right.
a few more 1-bedrooms, I think.
My apologies, I can't see that either.
1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom?
Really? Yes, it is. 20, 24, and 24. Unless you got something different from me. We're going to have to nail that down. As I said, the footprints that I have, but we have been talking, RUPCO has been talking a bit about formatting the buildings different. The elevations that you had received with the packet, we provided 5 copies as required, but I believe those are being reworked. So as it stands right now, we have 20, 24, and 24. We had originally had like 34 3-bedrooms. We've reduced that by 10 and increased the number. So yeah, it should be 22, 22, and 24.
Okay.
But we'll relook at those those numbers.
Sure. Because you eliminated one of the buildings in the front, I know you had done some visual impact pictures for us, kind of
Yes.
renderings of what it would look like. How different is the buildings that you've now moved forward into the place where the townhouse building was?
The front buildings now, building 1 and 3, with the townhouse building gone, building 3 will now very much resemble, in fact, it's the mirror of building number 1.
Okay.
So The exteriors, though, are being reworked as
Okay.
well, and we did get a comment from Michelle that you would like to see new, with the new layout. And we've also gotten some comment not only from consultants here and board members, but from Dutchess County Planning to add some more landscaping up in front of Building 3. We do show it proposed, of course, I don't have the landscaping up on there, but in your plan set, the landscaping plan, we have that berm with evergreen screening. As I had explained to Dutchess County Planning, we had done it in that area. As you remember, that area there is quite sparse on the existing tree line on 82, where it gets quite thick on the opposite side. But to augment that additionally is certainly not a problem. And we'll prepare, well, for the secret review, new visual analysis from the same locations as the previous with.
And we'd send you back to the ARB with those, of course.
Right, and that would be, the architects are planning on doing that once we get any additional concerns, whatever else they need to work on here from the planning board. They'll make their application to the ARB.
Okay. I know you said that you maintain the same amount of parking, even though we've gone from 5 to 4 buildings, so it looks like we have just extra parking between the caretaker house and the buildings 3 and 4? Is that correct? Or did we just expand? I'm trying to figure out where we expanded the parking.
Right, as, if you remember, we actually had the road that came down and served this building, so we had parking down in here for the 5th building, and we had some parking, smaller areas over in here. So we, yeah, this road
So those have been
actually
expanded.
looped around here like this. So we had some additional parking on the side here. We've eliminated all the parking here, the roadway here, so just added the parking in this area. Once again, added a few more spaces to
Right.
accommodate the handicap.
Okay. With the area in the back where the 5th building used to be, is there going to be any additional recreation that you're proposing there, or anything, any other use that you're proposing?
Well, what we show is, and that's on our landscaping plan, a blow-up of the outdoor recreation, a tot playground, swings, all enclosed in fencing, benches, patio. We have a play field, once again, with benches, barbecue units.
So there'll be no age restriction on this as far as?
No age restriction. Our lighting, once again, is the same LED lighting to minimize the impacts. Of course, it doesn't minimize the impacts, and once again, very green technology, so we've gone through that. Basically, every detail that this board had looked at previously, you're looking at the same ones again, only modified to accommodate the smaller area.
And the barn's going?
The barn is going. If it's still standing, I'm not quite sure. I haven't been down 82. That one's kind of tough. But of course, the superintendent staying in, just refurbishing is it the Dowdy House?
Okay.
And of course, being maintained.
So his equipment to maintain everything will be stored?
Yeah. Do we need a structure for maintenance equipment? Because I would need to include that. Yeah. Yeah, we'll discuss that, but actually, it sounds like
If
we're
you're gonna
going to end
plow-
up adding a small garage.
Plow the
for-
roads and cut the grass?
Right, to keep the plows, the mowers, what have you. Very good point. Now, on the, with the submission package, we completed the Part 1 of the EAF and provided a narrative of update, basically, on the Part 3, going through the items this board had looked at, and there were multiple studies done originally on this piece of property that do not change whether it was Regan Development or Rupco. The Phase 1 Cultural Resource Investigation, the Office of Parks sign-off on that does not change. We're not proposing anything other than one less building. the Phase 1, or the Phase 1 site assessment that was done does not change. There's no hazardous materials that was found. The blanding turtle and Indiana bats that the DEC had concern with, they had given us comments of what we need to do. We have our notes on this plan set already. We have the mountable curbs throughout the project. We have our restrictions on our tree clearing, although we can't, knowing the site as we all do, there's no tree clearing really to speak of. The majority of the trees are within the buffer, wetland buffer. We're certainly not proposing any disturbance from on the wetland buffer. With the layout, we were actually able to pull the development a little bit further away from Route 82. We're kind of paralleling the 82 on the curve, how we've turned the building somewhat. And it affords us a lot more green space in the back as well. Let's see, what else did we look at? What didn't we look at?
I'm just reading the Dutchess County Planning's letter. How do you plan on accommodating their comments? Because I think they're asking for just a little bit more landscaping.
The building layout that frames a usable green space?
Yeah.
We had preliminary discussion with Dutchess County Planning last week, actually, while we were there. And as I said, I believe Repco's going to be speaking with Capola to try and accommodate. They understand with the actual turning of the buildings and making of a courtyard, the buildings just don't fit. We have wetland buffer, we have steep slope, and we have setbacks. But the buildings in the rear, perhaps modifying those building shapes to perhaps maybe an L shape or something of that nature to afford more area of a courtyard as well. And that's something, once again, we need to look at and basically finalize very quickly, whatever our best way to address that concern and, still fit it on the site will be reflected on the next submission, which will actually be in 2 weeks. So we've got a lot of work to do in a short period of time to accommodate that. We wanted to come before the board, and once again, before we get everything final with the water, sewer, all the utility design, get the concerns like the building layout, augment the landscaping plan where you see fit, and see what concerns the board has that we can actually address for you if in fact you have any future concerns.
You're saying that we have to move quickly. What is your timeline?
Pardon?
I know that you're saying that we have to move quickly. What is your timeline? I know there was a big rush on the last one. What's the timeline?
Well,
on
Kevin, do
this
you want
one?
to speak to the?
Timeline?
I know you have to get your money and it's based on time.
The application to be due to the state no later than October 1st, so we'd like to see if we could have our approvals by October 1st.
And that's going to be, you need to be issued a special permit through the town board, then you would need to come back to us and finalize site plan.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, I believe that's why we're asking for a referral tonight, if possible, to the town board.
And in addition, with the information that we have provided with the EAF, we would like to see if the planning board would actually declare its intent for lead agency on SECRA and begin the SECRA process.
Yeah, Michelle, can you talk to that a little bit? Do we actually need to start that again, or can we reaffirm?
I'm wondering if we can just reaffirm your lead agency status and then recirculate with a new site plan?
I don't think so, because the original application was actually withdrawn.
Okay.
So we submitted
Okay.
an entirely
Okay.
new application.
Okay.
So procedurally, we probably should.
We have to recirculate, okay.
Okay. Just one comment on the site plan itself. I know I think you're still showing the school bus stop as on Route 82. With the changes to the circulation in the site, is it possible to put and you may have to talk to the school district, but possible to move that school bus stop inside maybe at the top of the roundabout or something?
Right, and you'll recall that we had left off, we show it there now, we were going to reach out to the school to see if in fact they will send their bus up a private road. You know, once again, we do have adequate traffic pattern for a bus to get through there. And we never made it to that step, so that is certainly one more step that we were going to inquire with.
It's just probably even almost a little bit easier now that you don't have the third driveway going into the back to the fifth building.
Well, the
so you
traffic
have a place
circle,
where you could put
yeah, has not changed insofar as its radius. So yes, and hopefully we'll provide a better area to move a shelter up should the school actually allow us to do this. I believe it's a great idea, but.
Brendan, were there any other site circulation? I know with the changes to the parking lot, any other site circulation issues we needed to talk about, or?
I think, Dawn, you would have to just update those vehicle tracking diagrams that you had done previously, because they are different now, because we're not circulating around anymore.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, so, I mean, those diagrams need to be done, and they should be part of that package if you're going to submit.
The auto turn as well as the cut fill analysis, I did not include that. Actually, even with the cut fill, with the reduced buildings, we don't really have to, well, we still have to meet ADA requirement. However, we got to the flat site. Didn't have to worry about getting drainage down, up, down, around. And we've actually reduced our cut to, I believe it's 118 yards, but we'll confirm that with the, I have the cut fill calculation, I just don't have that pretty colored drawing to provide you, but I will with our next submission.
Okay. Just back on traffic for a second, Brendan, I thought I remembered you saying that the traffic counts were based on the bedroom counts of the units, so will
No,
that?
they're actually based on the unit count, not
That's
the
the unit-
bedrooms.
okay.
But I think in any event, and I had a meeting a week or so ago with Collins. So, you know, they should at least reaffirm that the study that was previously done still, you know, still holds true.
Right, and our letter report, the letter report prepared by Collins attached to our Part 3 on the
Okay, it's in there.
EAF should, you know, if that isn't sufficient, please let me know, but I
Okay.
believe that should suffice. As well as the school analysis was actually redone. A letter report from Alan Sorensen, Planet Main Street, on the generation of school-age children for this development using the new, that would have changed with the unit count. However, since there will be a slight reduction per his report, but since we had one building that was dedicated as senior, and so we've said no children in those units, now he had to redo without the dedicated senior unit. So there will still be a slight reduction. We have no significant increase in any impact that was looked at from the board. In fact, every impact that was looked at the board either remains the same or is slightly reduced with the revised layout.
Well, it sounds like you're going to have a little bit more of your on-site recreation as well. So that's.
Actually, that recreation was included on the
I
other.
didn't
It was
remember
just
there being a tot lot on the last one. Okay.
certainly.
But Lori, just to confirm what Dawn was saying, so the traffic generation is actually based on the number of units, not the number of bedrooms.
Okay.
From a theoretical analysis standpoint. From a practical standpoint, you know, you would certainly expect there to be some vehicle reduction in the fact that there's less three-bedroom apartments.
Right.
So, but, you know, it's from
I mean,
an
20
analysis
less
perspective.
bedrooms should generate
Potentially
less
less traffic, but that's not, from a theoretical standpoint of traffic analysis, that's not the way you estimate the generated traffic. You estimate it on the
Okay.
number of units.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And this will be a homeowners association that,
No. No, once again, this is owned and operated by Rupco and maintained by Rupco.
Wasn't the last place going to be, the last time we saw this, maintained by Reagan? And it was owned by Reagan?
It was.
So I'm trying to differentiate in my mind what the difference is going to be, nonprofit
What the difference
versus
is
profit.
going to be, Reagan Development owns and operates, however, uses a third-party management company.
Okay, you do not use a third-party management.
Rupco does not use a third party. They have their own on-staff department, as Kevin was discussing.
The other question I had was, why are there no dedicated senior units? Is there a reason for that, or? I'm sorry, I don't mean, I'm not,
Sure,
I'm just,
no, it's
I'm
just,
just curious.
Yeah, I think we're looking to submit this under an early round category from the state of New York that will allow us to submit it in their early round. They had 8 different categories, and the one that this fits into and did last year is the category that's for high economic growth areas with high performing school districts, and that is family housing. So family housing can sometimes be a misnomer because it can actually be people of any age. And we believe that for many seniors, we'll be looking for 1 bedrooms. This will not be age restricted, and I think there are certain seniors who are looking for rental housing where it is age restricted. And there are no children on site, okay? And this will not serve that. But I think there are other seniors who, I'm now a senior at the tender age of 55. There are 2 elections under age-restricted housing. We're not doing age-restricted housing, but there are 2 elections when you do it, age 55 and older, or 62 and older. And I think increasingly, seniors are going to be working well into their senior years. I know this senior is. So anyway, to get back to your question, we are trying to fit a particular funding category from the state of New York. This town, because of the chip plant and some other things happening, qualifies under the economic growth, and you enjoy a high-performing school district. So congratulations, you have one. It's listed as such, and those 2 put together with a family housing is one of the early round categories that allows us to apply in the early round, have a better shot, frankly, of being funded and being able to deliver the housing.
Okay. I figured there had to be some reason, I just didn't understand.
That's it.
Because it's interesting, I now see 1-bedroom housing being competition by those just starting out and those ending up. The 2
Well,
ends.
yeah, sometimes, we think it's sort of a community.
I know, I just
Right.
think it's interesting that that's going to be the competition with
Yeah.
single-bedroom units.
Sure.
That economic growth, I'm glad to hear that, and I hope it happens real soon,
Sure. I think you're not alone in that wish, and many communities are hoping for that as well. Jobs are tough. Thank you.
What are the size of each of the units?
We
Are they
actually.
all the same units, or?
There's a mix, there's actually on the title page of our submission. There's actually 5 different unit types. 1-bedroom units are in fact all the same. 2-bedroom units, there are actually 2 different floor plans for the 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom, the same thing, 2 different areas are between, for 1-bedroom, between 600 and 750 square feet. That's the minimum requirements, and we will be within that. 2 bedrooms are between 750 and 950, and the 3 bedrooms between 900 and 1150.
Any other questions from board members? Brendan, I know we talked about traffic already. Michelle, anything you would add or any comments about what you're seeing so far?
No, I just want to make sure the planning board understands the obligation under the new zoning. Should I just review that real quick?
That'd be great.
Okay. Under the zoning that was passed during the previous review, the zoning was, the zoning was passed. The workforce housing special permit was passed by the town board. And when this applicant applied for the special permit, they actually withdrew their application before the town board
So
made.
after the zoning was approved, but
Correct.
before the town board approved the permit.
Correct. So currently, the existing zoning is under section 194-91.1. And I actually just cut and pasted the zoning text into my review letter, you'll have it. It just says that the planning board will review the initial application package to determine whether the application is sufficiently complete to commence preliminary review. Within 30 days of determining that the application is sufficiently complete to commence preliminary review, the planning board shall take the following steps. And one is that they will refer the initial application package to the town board for its review and comment to the planning board regarding the suitability of the proposed location for workforce housing. And then within 45 days from the date of the next regular planning board meeting following the submittal, at which all materials shall have been received, the town board will comment on the suitability of the proposed location for workforce housing. And then the planning board may circulate for seeker, and then if the application is subject to the referral requirements also for the New York General Municipal Law, they will coordinate a joint referral for both the special use permit and the site plan approval. So you're, under the zoning, you're supposed to review the application and determine if it's complete, and if it's complete, refer it to the town board for their review for the special permit.
Before the intent for lead agency.
Correct.
And the reason now I realize, because we had done both the zoning and the site plan under one seeker action last time. That's how we got the lead agency prior to the town board site suitability. So my apologies.
No problem. So, Michelle, do we need to, do we need further review to determine whether this is complete enough to refer to the town board, or are there things that?
I think it is complete enough to refer to the town board. That's my professional opinion.
Jason, you had a question?
I thought they were going to resubmit in 2 weeks, new layout.
Not a new layout. As I said, if we can modify the buildings 2 and 4 with an L shape, but once again, the overall plan itself, the unit count, the parking, traffic pattern, the utilities, that's not going to change. It's just if we can get the buildings designed to an L shape.
Now, Dawn, I just have one question about that. If you do it in an L shape, will you still remain within the existing limits of disturbance? Do you know? I don't know if you know that offhand.
Well, I would assume we would probably expand it but not overwhelmingly.
Okay, so would you go beyond what you did in the previous
Oh,
project?
no,
Okay.
not even.
So that as long as it's already
Not
complete?
even nearly. I mean, a slight increase from what we have here now, but.
So still within the envelope of what was reviewed under the previous seeker?
Yes,
review?
yes,
Okay.
definitely a reduction.
Okay.
So, Jason, I think this is.
I don't
it-
have her, I don't have.
Oh, Michelle, do you have an extra set of your comment letters
Yes.
for
yeah.
Jason?
They
I'm
weren't
sorry,
here.
we should have grabbed them for you.
They were last March.
So Jason, this is saying that the application needs to be sufficiently complete to commence preliminary review. And so I think, we certainly have most of the drawings, there's certainly gonna be some changes, but I think as far as preliminary review goes, we're probably, I'm comfortable that we have enough to do that, knowing there'll be some changes coming. Is there an order as far as referral to the town board versus the declaration of intent to be lead agent? Can we do that on the same night, or do we need to stagger them, or? I'm not reading this that it says whether or not one needs to happen before the other or be spaced between them, I can't tell.
I think we can circulate as long as, the only issue that I was circulating is whether or not the site plan is going to change at all. The layout's going to change at all, because we'd like to have the layout that's going to be the actual layout before it's circulated to any of the agencies.
Chuck, have you discussed this with AJ?
No, I was waiting for reaction to see.
Okay,
before I
okay,
engaged.
understood. And you think modifying a footprint, taking a corner of each of the building and turning them?
It's probably,
Is it-
I'm trying to go through my head if there's anything that, I know that the APA, the I guess it's within the existing seeker review, so it's not gonna change any of the, I think it's not gonna change anything.
We can.
I mean, it's a comment from an involved
We can
agency.
circulate with this plan and then recirculate. We can substitute the plan and ask the agencies if they have
Any
if they
comments?
change their mind, which they won't, but
Yeah.
that'll cover it if that's your concern. And that way we can get that comment.
I mean, it's not gonna change the the natural resources, because it's within the same limited service. It's not gonna change the OPRHP, the historic preservation, because it's within the same area. And then you've just got, I guess, DOT.
And Dutchess County.
And
Because
Dutchess
they're the ones
County.
that wrote the
Right.
letters saying we're recommending changes. So if we're circulating something that's not showing those changes, is that?
And actually,
Although I guess in a way,
Dutchess-
it's probably cart
It's
before the
just-
horse,
it's just a-
because
it's just
normally
a
we
ref-
would have circulated and they
Yeah,
would
it's
have
just
given
an
us
interested,
comments.
they're not,
so.
they don't have an approval, they're just not
Right, and
involved.
it's actually just a preference, not a recommendation. I mean, the lighting should be conservative in nature and unobtrusive. You've reviewed the lighting plan, it's the same lighting plan, same lighting. Once again, the foot candles, our lighting, proposed lighting is conservative in nature, and definitely unobtrusive.
Okay.
So I think,
And they're also saying that the workforce housing overlay zoning hasn't been.
Dutchess County's still gonna get 2 more bites of the apple. They get it in the secret process and they get it in the formal review if the town board allows the project to go forward, so I mean.
Right.
their comments are
Their
gonna be-
letter requests and other
Right,
submissions.
exactly, I mean, so they still get 2 more bites.
Yeah.
So Tom, you're also comfortable this is complete enough to refer back?
Okay. I have a question. In light of past experience, do we really want to be the lead agency, or do we want to let the town board be the lead agency for this? Since they're the ones that have to vote and give the special permit anyway. We would be a referring agency on the layout and what we think needs to be done, but let them make the decision as far as what actually happens.
Well, they ultimately make the decision under the law,
I-
but you, as lead agent, you're only doing the environmental review process and making a finding statement at the end of that process. The ultimate granting of the permit is
Right.
still vested with the town board.
I'm comfortable with us being the lead agent.
Just
I
a
mean, we-
comment.
And you're much more skilled, even though the town board is our employer. You're much more skilled.
Thank you, Tom. I didn't want to say that. I was kind of hoping
Now,
somebody
Tom,
would.
we didn't have to go there.
He's watching it at home, so.
He's watching.
We need the 7-second delay. All right. Joe,
Lori,
anything else we should cover with?
I was looking at it from the standpoint, the prior project, this project, and I saw, some similar issues that we had before, but certainly everything, this seemed to be up to the point of where we left things off at the last submission, so
Okay.
I think, I've just pointed out a couple things that could be, if anything, would be less impact with the stormwater and with the cut and fill analysis, so I think they're in fairly complete enough shape to go through a preliminary review.
Okay. Great. Any other questions from board members?
Lori? I
Yes.
skipped over a bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott.
The original project, the water and the sewer, was proposed just to serve this project, so it didn't offer any expansion for municipal services throughout this area. And at the time, the water was a big question mark. We really didn't have a close source at the time. The sewer, last time, we did want to see that expanded, but it was kind of left with the original project that, again, was just going to serve this project. So, a year later, those concerns still remain. Since that time, we have developed, or in the process of developing a water source across the street that could serve this development and other areas beyond this development. And as far as the sewer goes, there are other areas within, some proximity to this that could benefit from municipal sewer. So, in my opinion, I think that should be looked at again, that this project really should extend municipal services that wouldn't just serve this project, but could serve, other people in that area.
And Scott, if you'll recall, and we still take no exception to if the town wants us to upsize our pump station and force main to accommodate future flows. We had done that on previous projects, not here in East Fishkill, and certainly can do it with this project as well. We'll provide the pump station, the force main, to the town's specifications and requirements.
Are you proposing to dedicate that to the town?
And dedicate it to the town
Okay.
for operation. We had discussed this previously. And do it in a way, if you can give us your anticipated flows of which you want it sized to, where it will function, serving just this development, perhaps maybe only changing out impellers or maybe changing out pumps to accommodate future flows, but actually be sized accordingly. We can most certainly do that.
And as far as the water?
Well, the water, as we had discussed earlier, we're going with Dutchess County Water Authority previously, connecting to the 24-inch main that's there with a private contract. We did meet with Dutchess County Water Authority, and once again, RUPCO can contract with them as Regan Development was going to, and the town system isn't there, and I understand that the Cannon property has a good well, but at this point there's no well taking, there's no infrastructure, and unfortunately that's years out. So if this project had to wait for connection to town water when it exists, in its infrastructure is in its place, we certainly couldn't be shovel-ready 90 days after an award. And that's one of the criteria with the state funding. So we're kind of at a catch-22 with that.
But I think what also has to be taken into consideration, the county water source, since the last time we discussed this project, we're having issues with that water. Violations have gone out for not meeting, drinking water standards. There's another violation that's going to be going out shortly. So, there's a serious problem that remains with
Right.
the
The county itself has not been violated for the Central Dutchess Water Transmission Line. We know that there are issues with the byproducts of the disinfection process down the line.
Which affect Hyde Park, East Fishkill, and IBM.
Well, they've not been violated in IBM.
Hyde Park has been, yes.
Yeah, Hyde Park, yes. Yes, we actually discussed that at length with Dutchess County Water because, of course, we wouldn't tie into a contaminated source. Flow is an issue, as you know. When the water sits too long, it allows these contaminants to actually grow. Regular flushing program is part and parcel of operating the system. We had asked Dutchess County point blank, if we're tying to your system, they need to meet the requirements. They do their testing. They need to ensure that their water that we purchase is in fact safe to drink as your residents. You have to ensure to them that, or notify them when there are issues. And we're confident with the tie to Dutchess County Water, and hopefully in years when Poughkeepsie actually gets their treatment process redone, that problem will.
That's years down the road.
Well,
That's years down the road, too.
so here we are.
All I can say is East Fishkill issues violations for that water that we buy. Granted, there are some system considerations, but we have entry point numbers that are over the MCL, just that entry point, before
Right.
we even take it into our system.
Which is right out of their pipe.
Which is right out of their pipe. And we know Hyde Park
has had this problem for years, and they're very actively trying to manage it as well, unsuccessfully. So whatever they may be trying to tell you to downplay the seriousness of this issue, in our minds remains a very serious issue, so.
Aren't
and
the
that-
new specs that come into effect in October also?
They're even more stringent.
More stringent effects,
right.
yes. I think they're cut by about half.
So, Scott, what does the town do, setting aside this for one second, does the town have to do its own treatment, or how, what's the,
Well, we're actually gonna look for an alternate source for
Alternate
the whole
source.
plant project, which is now
Okay.
the only one in East Fishkill connected.
okay.
But back to that, what do we do? The town does not have a system.
Well, I think the point is, it's just
Yeah.
gonna have to be addressed in the secret process.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Because that is a change since the last application.
Yes.
So we have to
Mhm.
have the lead agent get comfortable with that.
Okay.
That we can do.
Scott, any other things we should talk about now from your perspective, or?
No, those are the main points.
Okay. All right. So, Michelle, I think we want to do two things. Declare our intent to be lead agency for the new application. So do I have a motion to declare our intent?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed. I
Okay.
still think it
Bob
should be
is
the town board.
Okay, Bob is opposed to that motion. And then we also need to consider the referral to the town board for the special permit. And is there a specific way, Tom, that we phrase that, or just make a referral to the town board for
Refer this
consideration?
application to the town board for their consideration.
Okay, so do I have a motion for the town board referral?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. You have a few things you need to get to us and a few updates.
Yes.
When will you have another submission? We'll put you back on for discussion. I think we have the town, Tom, just to make sure we have, or Michelle, to make sure we have the order of events, the town board has to have their meetings and do their consideration. Can we move forward with our review, or do we wait now for the town board with
I think we have
referral?
another discussion.
Okay. Okay.
Right, and if I'm not mistaken, our submission deadline is the end of the month, Pam, am I correct?
Yeah.
And can I just really quickly recap what we talked about, you guys submitting, just to make sure I have it?
Sure.
The location of the small garage maintenance building, if you're going to add one. That you're going to address the water system and the secret documentation, whatever
Sure.
discussion needs to be in there. And you're going to look at the potential changes to the layout based on Dutchess County's comments.
Yes. We're also going to provide the auto turn, provide the cut fill analysis, and
Update vehicle traffic.
that's the auto turn. Sorry. I'll talk in lawyer talk. I need legalese
That's
for
an
that.
engineering code.
We'll check with the school district.
Brendan
And add
knows what I'm
additional
talking about.
landscaping.
Yes.
And I think the view shed, Michelle, of the way the
visuals,
buildings have
yeah.
been moved from 82, the original viewpoints, just give us the updated.
Okay.
And I don't know if you'll have this for the next submission, but you'll talk to the school bus.
Yes, that I'm going to try and have an answer. Like you said, we'll try tomorrow. I can't guarantee by the end of the month that we'll have a response from them. But actually, perhaps Alan can reach out. He seems to have good luck in getting a hold of them and having meetings with. And actually, Scott, if you're able to give me an indication of additional flows that you would like this pump station to accommodate,
I
and
can
if
do
in-
that next couple of days, yes.
Okay, and if in fact the town has a standard pump station that they prefer to have,
Okay.
please let me know what that is, and we'll change our detail from our
Great.
little pump mate to whatever that needs to be. So Scott's gonna give me that info.
Don, would you have any update on the SWIP for this submission, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Eric's back from vacation. I told him plan on tomorrow and the next, well, actually,
Shouldn't be.
the majority of it is in fact there.
Mhm.
And I did see your comment about with the reduction perhaps going with a pond as
Yeah.
opposed to the underground. Yes, we have room, but do we really want to burn it up with a pond? Because if we have it one in the front of building one, the subsurface, in front of the buildings, nobody's really there. The one behind building 4, there's no traffic, it's just grassed area. We can take all of that, divert it to the back and just outside the outdoor recreation, build a big old pond, fence it in, and keep people out of it.
It's just a thought. you know.
Yeah.
Either way.
And it, truthfully, I prefer the ponds because they're, of course, far less expensive to
Right.
construct. And although the site is over 9 acres, it's really not that big of a site once you take out, it's 7 acres. So we could, this proposal actually, it provides us a lot more green than we had before.
Right.
We're, of course, preserving the 2.5 acres that was the wetland and the wetland buffer, but.
I think if I could speak from the developer standpoint, to create a visual amenity and put a fence
Can we,
around it
can we
is
just,
not-
I'm sorry, can we just have you come up to a mic?
Oh.
We can't hear you.
On the issue of the pond, I was just saying that I believe it was recommended as a visual amenity. I'd prefer not to create a visual amenity and put a fence around it. I'd rather do the subsurface from my own perspective and have a broader green space than just a dead pond.
Yeah,
Okay.
but either way, we'll speak to that, and you'll understand our reasoning behind what we're doing. And all that will be submitted, the full SWIP, the actual profiles, inverts for the remaining drainage that we have on the other. Well, actually, we have all the inverts, we just I don't have the storm scepters, or the underground done.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for us or anything we should discuss?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Dawn, did we have an extra package for our planning office? Wonderful, thank you. Oh, you have one, okay. Thank you very much.
You need another?
I think we're good. We have 2 now, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to get one for Mike? One for Mike.
All right, then, the next item on our agenda is a sketch plan review for the Pizza Village amended site plan on Route 82. Oh, and I'm sorry, are you guys students? If you need us to sign off, we're happy to sign off for you. You can come on up. I'm sorry, I should have asked you before. On the back. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, my name is Steve Burnaby. I work with Mazzarelli Architecture and Planning. We're here representing the Skanga family in Pizza Village for a sketch review. I do have a pen drive, can I hop
Sure.
out?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, this isn't gonna fit you.
Turn off some of these lights.
Pam, is that the cable or is it the laptop?
Cable.
The cable?
It's just,
Wiggle it just right, it
jiggle,
goes
you
away.
gotta jiggle it just right.
Okay.
Let's start with the elevations.
All right.
Okay, this project, what we propose to do is remove the glass structure that's adjacent to the Pizza Village right now, that's a dining room, and enclose a structure on, enclose it with a brick structure, brick to match the existing building with a white roof. We also propose to install handicap accessible toilets, which essentially is a 230 square foot addition. That's the extent of the project there. We do have arched windows along the side of the dining room, similar to the arches across the front, and we'll provide a covered entry from the rear parking.
Is the original glass structure part of the original site plan?
Part
Is
of
it
the
on-
original
is it on
site
the
plan?
original site plan?
For the current site plan?
Or, I'm sorry, the current site plan.
I believe it is.
It is, yes.
Yes, yes. I don't know if it was an amendment to the original one, but it is an approved site.
It is on, okay.
So we're here this evening, we're hoping that because of the scale of the project being its size, we're hoping that we won't have to produce a full site plan submission. We can get referred to the Architectural Review Board and then provide drawings to the building department to proceed with this project.
Right, I think the purpose of the coming was to have this discussion, because basically, some people feel it's just a building permit and architectural review, because it's all within virtually the same footprint.
Except for the bathrooms, which don't lead to any additional parking.
Yeah, can you just show us do you have some, at least a sketch of the site plan to show us where the
Sure.
addition would be and give us a feel for that?
Can I speak from over here?
Sure. Yeah, if there's a microphone we can hand to you.
That's perfect. Thank you. Okay, what you're looking at here is, this is a site plan. This shaded area, this corner right here, is the 230 square foot addition. That's where the toilets will be housed. Now, this area here is this area right here, which is the floor plan, which shows the covered entry, the handicap accessible toilets, and again, from this point here forward, this is the existing glass enclosure that we're going to be removing and then again closing it.
You have the same amount of seating?
It's the same amount of seating. The footprint itself is not changing. We plan on removing that glass structure and building right on top of the existing foundation that's there, except for our new addition, the 230 square feet.
So you don't lose any parking or anything like that? This is just going to cut into a little bit of your driveway?
No, we are not going into the driveway at all. This is, this back area where these toilets are proposed. Currently, there's an existing covered walk that comes out of this existing vestibule. It's
Okay.
covered by an awning, but it's a concrete walk out to this sidewalk. And then there's some landscaping over here and the relocated air conditioning units. So we're taking those and just relocating them from adjacent, alongside the existing building.
I gotcha,
To
okay.
underneath our covered area. We are not, encroaching on any of the parking or driveways at this point.
So the sidewalk width will remain the same?
Sidewalk width will remain the same.
And you're built right on the existing footings?
For the part that we're replacing the glass structure, yes. The new addition, the 230 square feet, will be on a new foundation.
On the existing foundation?
No, no,
On
there,
new, it's
there'll be a
an
new
addition.
foundation for that 230 square feet.
All right. So, Tom, this is right now in as a sketch plan review. It's not actually in as a discussion. Do we have everything we need to make this an application and make a motion for the planning board, or do we need it to come back one more time?
They wouldn't have to make an application. If you determine that you concur that it's building permit ARB, that's all you have to do.
Oh, okay.
Turn it over
All
to
right.
the
I didn't
board.
understand. I thought we had to do something that said it was a minor site plan amendment. Okay. All right. So do I have, I'm sorry, any other questions or comments from board members? And any concern from our professionals allowing this to move forward through the building department and ARB? Okay, so do I have a motion to allow the Pizza Village amended site plan to be considered as a minor site plan amendment that can be handled through a building permit and through the ARB?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Go build your addition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will much prefer the seating.
Yeah. It's a little shadier.
All right.
No, I don't like the nice in that place with the windows.
Okay. All right, guys, that was the end of our agenda, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.